Shinichiro Watanabe is a Japanese anime director and screenwriter, most known for throwing things like hip-hop and samurai, or jazz and space, together until he's created a timelessly charming story. He's co-directed episodes of Macross Plus, Star Rider, and Working, as well as a 15-minute Blade Runner short film, but I'm going to focus on anime that could never exist as they are without him. Rather than projects he had a small part in, projects specifically directed by him with his vision in mind. I was already on a binge of them on my own time when I realized I had some stuff to say about how the 6 different anime compared. So, in alphabetical order just because, here's how I rank all the anime by Shinichiro Watanabe. Carole Tuesday follows the unlikely friendship of the 2 musicians from totally different backgrounds, as well as their steady rise to fame in a world that has replaced human-made instrumentals and vocals with AI programs. The core of Carole Tuesday is a celebration of American music. Shinichiro Watanabe has clear passion for music, whatever the genre or country of origin, and the hope it brings people. A passion that I feel I have as well. So you could imagine how appealing the series was for me. Maybe the dopamine rush I got from each song made it easier to care less about the anime's plot, even as it became more and more convoluted. What began as a heartwarming story about these girls writing and releasing organic music in an AI-dominated industry shifted focus. By its second half, it was a political commentary about refugees and a drama mystery about Angela's complicated life, featuring some half-hearted attempts at conflict between the actual protagonists. Basically, while it aired, it was my favorite show in existence. I loved the weekly process of watching Carole Tuesday create their next song. I loved the black representation, the singing itself, the animation, but by the last couple of episodes I had to remove my rose-tinted glasses to realize how underdeveloped the characters were, and how little I understood what was even going on in the plot anymore. Carole Tuesday tried to pull off too many stories at once, losing sight of the original premise. But when the show is at its best, it's awesome. Solid 8 out of 10. It's definitely an AniTube cliche at this point to praise Cowboy Bebop, but having rewatched it for this video, I'm more sure that in no way is it overrated. This legendary, somehow still relevant anime is about a group of space bounty hunters: Spike, Jet, Valentine, Ed, and most importantly, Ein, and their heroic quest to not starve to death on their ship, the Bebop. Episodes follow roughly the same structure with a new bounty to catch, and although more often than not their attempts at catching this bounty end in the same way, the show remains exciting and unpredictable because of how it handles the characters. Of course, the stylish action and soundtrack also contribute to keeping things fresh, but to me, character writing will always be what makes or breaks an anime. We can imagine Spike is a thrill seeker who doesn't have a lot, if anything, to lose just by the way he fights. We can tell Jet is dependable and used to looking out for others' well-being. And both of those glimpses make perfect sense once the pieces come together to reveal who these characters were before ending up on the Bebop. Each episode, even though events are mostly disconnected, serves a purpose, either to show us more of a specific character or to be part of the anime's central theme, being unable to escape your past. I also think a central theme in most of Shinichiro Watanabe's works, not just Cowboy Bebop, is the theme of found family. I find this theme in fiction to be very comforting, that the relationships you choose and work for can be just as, if not more, fulfilling than the relationships assigned to you. And I know I'm probably not saying anything new. Cowboy Bebop has a very introspective and somber tone that usually gets people reflecting like this in their review of it. But hey, if the series leaves you sad, there's also a 2001 movie to leave you sad. Everything someone would love about the series is absolutely in this movie. The style, the humor, multi-dimensional antagonists, it's all there. Anyways, the series and film combined are an easy best by Shinichiro Watanabe. 9 out of 10. Kids on the Slope is my favorite anime on this tier list, and in case it wasn't obvious due to the multiple previous times I recommended it on my channel, my current 3rd favorite anime series, period. So I'm going to let a clip of Past Opal speak for me a bit here instead of repeating myself.
The miniseries stars an introverted classical pianist who just moved into town for his first year of high school in the summer of 1966. He spent more time studying than he ever has trying to make friends, and so is prepared for another dull, lonely year, that is, until he meets the school's delinquent drummer. What follows is a heartwarming tale of friendship and love as our main character is inspired by those around him, and slowly begins to break out of his shell. inspired me as well as a pianist. Seeing the group's wonderfully animated jam sessions left me with a kid at the candy store type gleam in my eye. The plot's not perfect, in fact, I felt it neared the edge of melodrama at certain points, but the overall message carries through just fine. Kids on the Slope is a love letter to jazz and music in general, and if any of this interests you even a little, please go watch it.
Did I say one clip? I meant two. Here's another clip of me talking about it. Again, literally a year later.
Part of the reason I felt such a connection to this series is that growing up I also moved around quite a bit, never letting myself get too close to people, and during that time as well as now, I find an escape in music. The show is really about adolescence and all the drama it entails, told through these characters' interactions with jazz. So not only is this anime relatable, it also delivers solid bop after bop. I mean, listen to this. With a soundtrack I will never stop listening to and an overall nice message about how music brings people together, Kids on the Slope is the perfect miniseries for any fan of jazz or music in general.
I have, I'll admit, quite a lot of blind admiration for this anime in particular, which impacts my personal rating of 10 out of 10. So if you were hoping I would discuss some of its flaws, which definitely probably exist, sorry to disappoint. Promise I won't talk about this show again. At least, not for a year. Samurai Champloo takes place in 1600s Japan and follows Mugen, Jin, and Fu. They meet by chance, and after plenty of convincing on Fu's part, set off together in search of the samurai who smells of sunflowers. Though he doesn't end up mattering as much as the journey on their way to finding him. The distinct badassery and style oozing out of this series is especially thanks to its soundtrack by the late and great hip-hop producer Nujabes. I was introduced to Nujabes through this anime, and his work is intrinsic not only to the entire genre of lo-fi hip-hop, but to the unconventional identity of Samurai Champloo, which is why I wanted to give him a quick mention here. As for the structure of the story, episodes are for the most part loosely strung together, with character chemistry being given more importance than a consistent narrative. Much like the crew of the Bebop, Mugen, Jin, and Fu barely manage to avoid starvation day by day, and get wrapped up in messy situations that result in some of the coolest fights in anime. There's also this underlying melancholic theme of loss and separation that makes for some really impactful emotional moments throughout its 26 episodes. Recklessness contrasts with cold precision, good conflicts with evil, and characters struggle as hard as they can against fate right to the end. Watanabe is a director who is not afraid to take risks to create something never seen before, and while Samurai Champloo's episodic storytelling may put some people off, many, including myself, consider it a must-watch. That being said, I rate it 8 out of 10 because there were a couple episodes I didn't personally enjoy, and the characters could have been developed a lot more considering the series' length. With Space Dandy, unconventional is an understatement. The protagonist is a dandy guy in space traveling from planet to planet, dimension to dimension, hunting rare aliens for bounty with his parasitic companions Meow and QT. Each episode is almost entirely self-contained, as Watanabe prioritized creative freedom for all of the animators and writers involved. I should quickly note that Shingo Natsume, key animator for FMA Brotherhood and One Punch Man, also directed, with Watanabe being the general director. Every new concept, every unique world this show introduces is just so cool, and I don't even need to say anything about the insane animation because you're seeing it now. The entire point of Space Dandy is style over substance, and as it was being made, it served as a launching pad for anime legends to show off what they could do without restriction. I have so much respect for what was done to make it exist, but it's just not my cup of tea. A lot of the humor is pretty juvenile, and if you're like me and prefer to avoid fanservice, consider Space Dandy near unwatchable. I find it fun to revisit certain episodes without critically analyzing them. However, I don't think I can watch the entire series start to finish. I'm ranking it 7 out of 10. Terror in Resonance is a mystery thriller about two boys called 9 and 12 and Lisa, who becomes their unwilling accomplice in terrorism. The series takes hold of your attention and doesn't let go, with 9 and 12 robbing a nuclear facility, then anonymously challenging police on YouTube as they continue to cause chaos. Their motivations are implied but not revealed until the end of the series. So just like the detective assigned to catch them, we are left in the dark about what drives these teenagers to risk their lives setting off bombs across Tokyo. more than most anime I watch, Terror in Resonance causes me to notice the cinematography. Cinematic is definitely the first word that comes to mind when I try to describe the overall mood of the series. The art is stylistic and visually pleasing, but lifelike enough to give a sense of weight to everything that happens. And the music slaps, but I've come to expect that from any Watanabe-led project. Terror in Resonance takes a mature, drip-fed approach to its core message, while also keeping a pace that makes it easy to finish the whole thing in one sitting. By now, you may notice a pattern. Watanabe is partial to trios. I think that's because having 3 protagonists with highly contrasting personalities and questionable morals can lead to a lot of interesting problems. His larger-than-life characters also tend to represent something significant, acting as foils for each other and reflections of our reality. That's absolutely the case with Terror in Resonance. 7.5 out of 10. And that is my full tier list of anime by Shinichiro Watanabe. With Lazarus, his 7th major directorial project, now airing, I felt it was a good time to show my appreciation for his work and the impact it's had on me so far. Let me know in the comments what you think of my ratings and which of these anime is your favorite. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.